Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Note to Self. Today's episode is a little different because I am beginning a brand new series over here. This is part 1 of a 5-part series on unbothered energy. You guys loved the episode I did a couple weeks ago on this, and honestly, I can go so much deeper, and I cannot think of a better topic to explore right now. The more I move through life, the more I realize something very simple but very powerful, and that is unbothered energy is where it's at. It is one of the most magnetic states a human being can embody. Not because you're trying to be impressive, not because you are trying to appear powerful, but because when someone is truly grounded in themselves, when their nervous system is regulated, when they are not constantly reacting to everything around them, people feel that. And there is a steadiness to that person. There is a calm. And that calm becomes incredibly attractive in a world where so many people are operating from chaos. So in this series, over the next 5 episodes, I am going to explore with you what unbothered energy actually is, what it is not, and how you can begin cultivating more of it in your own life. Today's episode is the foundation. Today, I'm going to talk about why unbothered energy is so magnetic and so powerful, because once you understand this, it changes the way that you move through the world. So first, let's clear something up. Being unbothered does not mean that you don't care. It does not mean that you are cold. It does not mean that you suppress your emotions. It does not mean that you walk through life numb. In fact, some of the most emotionally intelligent people I know are some of the most unbothered. Why? Because they have learned how to regulate themselves. They have learned how to pause instead of react. They have learned how to process emotions without letting those emotions control their behavior. Being unbothered is not about feeling nothing. It is about mastering your responses. And when you master your responses, something really interesting happens. People start experiencing you differently. There's a phrase I love that speaks to this. People are drawn to what they cannot disturb. I'll repeat that. People are drawn to what they cannot disturb. Think about that for a moment. When someone can easily provoke you, when they can get a reaction out of you, when they can control your emotional state, they have power over you. I think about sibling dynamics, growing up fighting over the PlayStation, things like that. We all knew that we could have power over each other. We knew which buttons to push. But when someone realizes that they cannot easily shake you, they cannot pull you into chaos, they cannot manipulate your emotions, your presence suddenly carries weight. You become grounded, you become stable, and that stability is incredibly magnetic. Not just magnetic to people around you, magnetic to the universe flowing all good things to you. Now let's talk about it. Most people move through life in reaction mode. I can say that I myself have spent a large portion of my life operating through reaction mode. So for example, someone says something they don't like, reaction. Someone disagrees with them, reaction. Someone posts something online, reaction. Something inconvenient happens, reaction. And this constant state of reaction creates a nervous system that is always on edge, always activated, always scanning for threats, always trying to defend itself. But the person who begins cultivating unbothered energy steps out of this cycle. Instead of reacting to everything, they start responding intentionally. And there is a huge difference between those two things because reaction is impulsive and response is conscious. Reaction comes from emotion taking over, and response comes from awareness. And the moment you begin responding instead of reacting, you reclaim an incredible amount of personal power. Another reason unbothered energy is so magnetic is because it is deeply connected to self-validation. Many people are unknowingly walking through life constantly seeking approval. They want reassurance, validation, they want to know they are liked. And when we rely on external validation, we become extremely sensitive to other people's opinions. If someone approves of us, we feel good. If someone criticizes us, we feel destabilized. But the person who begins cultivating unbothered energy develops something much more stable. They develop internal validation. They know who they are, they know what they stand for, they know what matters to them. So when someone disagrees, criticizes, or misunderstands them, it doesn't shake their identity. Their sense of self is not dependent on outside approval. And that is where true confidence comes from. Not from everyone liking you, but from being secure in who you are regardless of what people think. Now, there is also something important happening energetically when you stop chasing validation, and that is you become more attractive. Because desperation energy, that graspiness, it repels. But calm confidence energy, that attracts. Think about any person you've ever met who had a very grounded presence. They weren't trying to impress anyone. They weren't trying to dominate the room. They weren't seeking attention, but people noticed them. People respected them. People were curious about them. Why? Because their energy felt stable. They felt comfortable in their own skin. And that kind of presence is rare. Another aspect of unbothered energy is emotional containment. This means you don't feel the need to broadcast every thought or reaction the moment it arises. You pause, you observe, you ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Is this worth my peace? Does this actually matter in the bigger picture of my life? Because the truth is, not everything deserves a response. I'll repeat that because I feel like that's something that when you let it sink in, you feel a lot more grounded. Not everything deserves a response. And when you stop responding to everything, your energy becomes far more focused, more intentional, and so much more powerful. One of the most transformative questions you can start asking yourself is this: is reacting to this going to improve my life? Most of the time, the answer is no. Reacting might feel momentarily satisfying. Maybe you need to get some emotions or shift some energy in your body, and reactivity feels like the easiest way to do that. But it rarely moves your life forward. Responding with calmness, with clarity, and with emotional regulation, now that is what moves your life forward. That is the type of energy that the universe responds to in a big, supportive way. I have personally noticed something interesting as I've leaned more into this energy, and that is when you become more grounded internally, you start seeing situations differently. Things that used to bother you stop bothering you. Things that used to trigger you lose their grip. Conversations that used to pull you into drama suddenly feel very unnecessary. And this doesn't mean life becomes perfect. It means that you become more stable within the flows, the ebbs of life. And that stability changes everything. So if there's one takeaway I want you to walk away from this episode with, it is this: your calmness is a form of power. The world will always have noise. People will always have opinions and judgments, and chaos will always exist somewhere in the world. But you get to decide how much of that chaos you allow to enter your nervous system. And the more you practice emotional regulation, intentional responses, and self-validation, the more unbothered energy you will naturally embody. So over the next 4 episodes in this series, I am going to go even deeper with you guys. We are going to talk about how to protect your peace, how to stop explaining yourself to people who misunderstand you, why silence can be one of the most powerful responses you have, and how to become the calm in the storm no matter what life throws at you. Because being unbothered is not about disconnecting from life. It is about becoming so grounded within yourself that other people's chaos, the world's chaos, no longer controls you. And when you reach that place, your life begins to feel very different, more peaceful, more intentional, more powerful. So I hope you're along for the ride. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. And if this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to share it with someone who might need this message right now. And if you're feeling called to take this work deeper and truly step into your next level, you can explore working with me through the links in the show notes. And I'll see you in the next episode, part 2 of the Unbothered Energy series. And trust me, it's a good one.